Hey, welcome back, guys. We are back.
No
We're consistent. 2 weeks in a row.
I know, no desk pops tonight. I wasn't able to get out of town
Okay.
early, so
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We got a good episode tonight. We got a special guest.
yeah, it's kind of a surprise special guest.
Yeah,
Should be fun.
I'm excited. I've never talked to Mikey before, other than
Really?
through like Messenger a little bit here and there, but not too much. But yeah, he seems to be a pretty cool guy.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
he and Tom are probably the two I talk to most. You know,
Oh,
Kyle,
really?
sometimes when I used to go down to Sons of Liberty. So it's yeah. So we'll let him kind of talk to and speak about what his plans are and see how he plans on turning Cobalt around.
Well, I don't think he really needed to turn it around. It just make it better,
make it
right?
more, yeah, take it away from the like we said, like you said, I think the gaming mentality and bring it.
Yeah. I mean, Cobalt Kinetics is made. Well, the only gun I know about is the one that drops the mag free after the last round.
Yeah.
So that's more for competition use, and I think it's perfectly fine for that type of use.
Sure.
But we'll see what his take on everything.
I hope he makes it more like we'll see what his plans are. I know that he got one and shot one, and I believe Mikey to not be biased just because he'd be, especially in Messenger. Like this wasn't him making a post. This was just him. Like he said, when he shot it, it did not fucking move. Like just
really.
Yeah. So that's he knows his stuff.
I like that.
Wait, let me see. I didn't update the notes for this week, but we will. You want to just bring him in now, or do you want to?
Up to you. I mean, notes for what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I had something, and I don't think I put it in the notes section. There was something I wanted to bring up this week.
Well, Rittenhouse. We got to talk a little more about Rittenhouse, right? Because it's in the jury's hands right now for the last 3 days.
Yeah, I want to get Mikey's take on that. Let me bring him in real quick.
Okay.
I had it copied and ready.
Let's see. I am looking up pictures I gotta send.
Nudes.
No. I'm trying to find my green LMT. I'm trying to find a picture of that so I can send it to Derek. Derek wants to see it. There we go.
Yeah, that was I wish I would have jumped on those way back when.
Dude, when I saw the price, I mean, 308, it was like, I think it was like 1,500, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, it's a 308. Why is it so cheap?
I just didn't want a 308 AR at the time. I didn't need it, and then those 2-bit bucks made them
308 LMT. I'm like, what's the catch here? What's going on? What's going on here? I'm like, I kind of have to buy this, so I bought it, and now it's worth a fortune.
Yeah, and then did you see the guys that? So they started they didn't pre-sale, but they started telling everybody they were going to anodize green, this and that, and then they did it. LMT was not happy. They did a really shitty job. Apparently, I was going to buy some because I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, green LMTs!"
Yeah.
As I started digging, started learning, oh, these aren't LMT. These are just guys bought some LMTs. Green ano, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, there's Mikey.
Yeah, you want to bring him in?
Yes.
Well, let's introduce everyone to Mikey.
Man, I wish we had an intro.
I mean, you can dance topless if you want an intro.
We need a professional beatboxer.
Yeah, hey, Mikey, what's going on? Thanks for coming on.
What's going on, guys? Appreciate you bringing me on.
Oh no, we appreciate you coming on.
To our ultra professional and definitely.
Yeah, we were so prepared that we knew you were coming on that we did zero advertisement.
Yeah, sorry. That's fine. It was last minute, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know y'all were gonna announce it for real.
Yeah, it was an article. What was it this week or late last week?
Yeah, Soldier Systems.
Yeah.
You know that was
nice.
I was aware of it. they had already done a couple for when they were doing the relaunch of the brand, and then when Gabe went over, they kind of did they did one for him. So yeah, so I was aware of it, and they had me do kind of like a bio, and it's got everything compiled. Had to give them some pictures. That was kind of tough because anything of me with a rifle was with a son's rifle.
Yeah.
So not that there was anything wrong with it, but with the direction that we're trying to go with things, it doesn't look couth having I drive for a Ferrari, but I'm roaming around in a Porsche or some shit like that. Although there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's
both cars are great.
Yeah, but it's cool. That aspect is cool. Is that you have so many great guys with so many different companies who rep so many different brands, but yet we're all, for the most part, cool with each other.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of dudes out there who are running guns from quote unquote competitors, but you just don't ever know because they professional life and personal life.
Sure.
So I've never understood this because I think Lita and I are a little bit different. I guess the mainstream consumer doesn't have an array of brands and calibers and types, but for me, I don't really see distribution level, fine, competitors, but as a manufacturing level, most of the guys I know just buy everything. Like there's not really a
I mean, I have different brands myself. I mean, when Nick was over at Viltor, he sent me some items, so I have essentially a full Viltor gun.
Yeah.
Just with our connection and my interaction with Jim Hodge, I have Hodge pieces. There's bits and pieces, different brands, different styles of guns, and a lot of it is that you want to support. One, if you know what you're fucking doing, you're going to go after what is good or what has quality or what's been proven to be worth a shit. So you want that, and regardless of who runs it, who doesn't run it, wherever the case may be, you want what's good.
Yeah.
And then it's a bonus when you got bros that rep those companies. So then, if y'all are tight enough, everybody's going to want to do something for you or the other. And that's the cool part of the industry. And that's the part that kind of helped hook it in with the change, is that moving up to a different level now, you get to see the bigger picture and you get to be a little bit more tighter. And there's kind of that camaraderie, that professionalism, but competitor to push the other, but still a camaraderie.
Yeah, you can have friendly competition. Now, to be clear, I know most people, the 13 people watching, they know you. They know that. I think most people see you as, oh yeah, he was the Seracoter at Suns, but they don't realize. I've seen firsthand, when y'all were in the old shop, it was basically you, Randy, Tom, and a handful of guys coming in and out, different positions, armor, stuff like that. Scotty was there at that time, things of that nature. But it's like they don't realize how much goes on in the background, because they're like, wow, this. I had somebody ask me that. Wait, the Seracoting guy? I'm like, yeah, he wasn't. He didn't go from just spraying guns to fucking COO. Like that's not how this worked.
And that's always been kind of like an albatross when I've done different things, like when I did that television show a couple of years back, if there were Seracoting guns, you'd win. I'm like, yeah, guess what? I kind of done other shit, or been trained in other areas. I'm actually a multi-platform armor on top of a gunsmith.
Nice.
Then I got the AR cert, and then just I mean, hell, I was an ER nurse. So I was working on my nurse practitioners before I got into the gun world. So I've done some stuff.
Yeah, and I do think that's the one thing positive that from my outlook in that I can say about Sons of Liberty amongst it's hard to speak positive without being like sounding all fanboyish. I've seen every company on the planet. It has their problems, it has their headaches, it has that, but there was a lot of shit there that at Sons that crossed the streams essentially. Like not one person does one position.
No, because of how small we were,
Yeah.
Everybody had multiple roles. And then when I got voluntold to do Seracote, since it was from scratch, from the bottom up,
Yeah.
I've essentially ran that as its own independent business. I was in charge of purchasing, of advertising, of marketing, of, having to learn shit. I became friends with like Mike Sigowin, Blown Deadline, just because I badgered the fuck out of him. And then from there, a friendship formed. And, because of what I did, being the primary guy in that facet, I interacted with owners and CEOs and, celebrities to an extent. I had to be one-on-one. So something that I always lay credit to was my training in the military. I knew how to interact with individuals. I can speak well, although in a lot of cases I fucking don't, because what's the fun of that?
Different industry, though. It works.
But I grew an aspect, a facet of Sons of Liberty to where I had to do it independently, to where I was almost my own company. So it was at a smaller scale, but there's still core aspects of business that are the same thing, whether you scale it up or scale it down. And I feel, and of course, I had always been taught and learned and was trained that you do the best at the job that you have in front of me. So I don't want to suck at something. I'm going to try to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm always going to want to do more and, assert myself, get myself involved. Sometimes it may have been to a fault, but I wanted to understand everything about the realm I was in. Yeah. And I guess that persistence and perseverance started to, Mike and Kyle started to take note of that and started to utilize me in other aspects. So I was able to grow myself professionally, and it just got to a point where, I wanted more.
Sure.
I had that ambition.
Nice.
Well, and that's tough. It doesn't matter what industry, what company. When you have a company that goes from, essentially just a few guys making.
We were like that. And then all of a sudden we blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Hard. It's hard to scale that. And it would have been impossible for that to happen without the good people that they had. If I think back, I can think of a few people that didn't last for very long, but for the most part, the major positions, retention is like 99%. Everybody's still fucking there.
Don't get me wrong. Just like any place else, there were days that I walked in fully aware that, hey, this is going to be my last fucking day.
Yeah.
And then, and then something happened or something occurred, and, you get, pulled back in like it's fucking episode of The Godfather or something. But
it worked out. You went from, I watched you go from, now we're starting Seracote, to hiring John, if I remember correctly, to growing, and then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, it's like, boom, you're going on sales calls, you're going on demos, you're going on competitions, you're going on just constantly traveling. And now I see like Nick and stuff like that, he's going on different things. And I personally think it's awesome.
It's the right people at the right time in the right circumstance.
Yeah.
And we had that opportunity, and it's, I think I told you, and, I've told everybody, this wasn't an easy decision to decide to leave, where I was. I essentially could do whatever the fuck I want. I had complete latitude. If I wanted to, I would go places and shoot on company dime, or, I got some of the best training that's probably out there in the gun world. Got to meet some of the top trainers in multiple disciplines, pistol, rifle, combatives, edge weapons, shit like that.
Nice.
I never would have thought that, but it started to, that growth was starting to only become lateral.
Yeah.
And, and no fault to the company at all. It's just the way it's structured and the growth and the size that we were at the time. I was at my ceiling, and, it was a very, very, very tough decision. And, you know, even my docs said that it may have been a small contributor to the stroke I had last month or the other month.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I had
from the fucking hospital, but
so I had what's called a Lacunar Stroke, and I had never heard of that. 20 years in the medical field, never heard of that.
I've never heard of it, but I'm a layman.
So they saw evidence of a tear in my carotid artery.
Oh shit!
That for a tear of that manner to occur, you know, related to some type of head trauma. So going by what the docs evidence saw, they kind of surmised it occurred at a class that I took. Then a month later, I took another similar class that happened to be heavy head work, neck work, and the clot may have already been formed, and then some of it broke off during that last class.
Oh shit!
And what's crazy is that as I think back on it, I recall when I was stroking, I had limb weakness. My speech was kind of weird. You know, I was off balance and off kilter, and I just chalked it up to being exhausted. You know, these courses aren't exactly walk in the parks. You're, you know,
right.
Tangled up with dudes. So I just thought I was just fucking tired.
Yeah.
And then, you know, walked through it, and, you know, class happened on a Saturday. That Tuesday, I'd already been feeling weird, and I drove to work a couple of times and kind of didn't even realize I got to work. Started getting really, really weird anxiety feelings, stuff like that. I don't have it, but I started to feel it, and then went into the hospital, and yeah, I told them, I was like, yeah, I was feeling a little lightheaded, dizzy. So I did a head CT. Hour later, they come back and they're like, yeah, so you got signs of a stroke. And my wife and I looked at each other like, what the fuck?
You're getting old, man.
Dude, but, you know, so yeah, so they got me on this bunch of meds and shit just to help kind of make sure everything's working right, but I'm progressively getting better.
Okay, so this isn't going to be something that tomorrow you got to worry about another fucking stroke.
No, so, you know, of course, everything is preventive after you have a stroke.
Yeah.
And I just had the good fortune of having it's an obscure stroke, but it's one of the most recoverable.
Oh, good.
And the only thing that I really have is a very minor speech delay, and you may incur that while we're having this. I got to kind of stop, kind of search for words. Sometimes I get a stammer.
That's me all the time.
Well, a buddy of mine, my buddy Doug, he's one of the owners of Softly. We were talking, and he was like, "Yeah, man. So you know, what's great is that you're going to go to this new place, and you know, you get to start over, and they'll just think you're a fucking retard from baseline." He's like, "So it's all good." I'm like, "Gee, thanks, Doug."
Hey, set the bar low, man. That's the way to go into things. You don't want to go in too strong.
Hey, sometimes lowered expectations, that's the best way to be it, because then you look like the rock star when you pull shit off.
Exactly.
It's true. So you're starting the COO, right, of Cobalt Kinetics.
Correct.
So I don't really care about the professional aspect, to be honest with you. I don't want you to talk about stuff like that. You know, we don't want dirt. I don't give a shit. But I do care about one thing. What is your plan to change it a little bit? Maybe not change, but just tweak to make guys like me buy a Cobalt, because I want one
to make it appeal more to the masses.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're good shit, because I know a few years ago, I think the company that I work for now actually bought a bunch of their like high fucking end, and they did great. They shoot phenomenally. They do wonderful. But I don't want to get that dirty.
No, what's referred to as Cobalt 1 is the first iteration. The company's been around for 10 years. Was bought by Aaron Quinn, my boss, CEO, primary owner. There's two owners, and there's investors, there's a board. But he bought the company, and they had unfortunately kind of ran the company into the ground. and they never deviated from that primary space age chromed out rifle that they had,
right.
With the dual double Fortis,
Yeah.
with the with the Ford assist
Whoa.
that dropped the bolts, and then it had the last round hold open and it dropped the mag.
Yeah,
The whole
that's pretty
concept
cool. I think that was pretty cool.
Well, that's just it. It's if you think about it in today's terms and what we know and the training and things that are occurring in the shoot world at this point in time, it probably would have been better received now in 2021. Yes. But in 2014, 15, it's like, what the fuck is this shit? You know, everybody just was weirded
more
out.
For gamers back then, huh?
Yeah, and you know, if you can shave thousandths of a second off, that in the 3-gun world, 2-gun world, that is a difference between first and second, or you know, 3-way tie for third, whatever the case may be. So that aspect, that lineage still exists, but what is the intent for starting this 2022 is that we're trying to go in the direction of duty grade utilitarian kind of guns, like your standard M4 concept. And what I hope to bring is that experience that I gained from Sons, and just being aware of what companies and dealers and agencies look for in what's considered a duty gun. You know, are we going to take over the world? Not tomorrow, but you know, like I told Mike and Kyle, and it was, you know, again, I left on good terms. You know, we may not be competition today, but we will be competitors tomorrow. You know, and that's the way we're going at it. The bones are there. The first time I picked up one of these guns was a handful of months ago, and at first it was at Texas Gun Fest. Cobalt just happened to be right next to us on the range, and my friend of mine, Chris Pollock, Dirty Harry, he was like, "Hey, have you shot one of their guns?" I was like, "No." You know, I was kind of like, "It's Cobalt. I don't want to get it. I don't want to get AIDS." He was like, "No, try it. Shoot it, man. It runs badass." And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Skeptical. Walked over, was chit chatting with Aaron, and then I was like, "You mind if I try it out?" He's like, "Yeah, go ahead." So grabbed the magazine, loaded it up, fired my 5 rounds, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Didn't move, huh?
Grabbed another magazine. This time I jammed it up, threw it in, started running the plates, and I was like, "Fuck, man." I likened my response to that gun to my very first time I ran a Sons gun before I even started working for him.
Nice.
So, you know, for me to go from skeptical to, kind of convinced within less than 5-10 minutes, you know, that told me that there was something there. And, you know, handful of months later, I get somebody, you know, Aaron reached out to me and recalled our conversations and said that my name had been popping up a lot in conversations that he was having. So he just was like, you know, I'm probably going to piss people off, but, you know, this is what I got going on. What do you think? So
that's awesome, man. It's a huge jump. I mean,
it is.
I mean, I don't want to say life-changing, but it is. I mean, it is in every aspect changing you and your family's life. I mean,
it's weird to me because, you know, you don't do this job in this industry because you're going to make money hand over fist. You're not going to get rich. And, you know, you do it purely for the love of what you're doing. I expected to do well and, you know, get to a point where I could do whatever the fuck I want. And, you know, and I was there.
Yeah.
But then to have this opportunity to level up and be a part of the food chain, you know, that is something that, you know, as I think more about it, it is pretty fucking cool. And I never would have thought it. I had a friend, you know, kind of put it in the terms of it. If you think about it, it's the American dream.
Yeah, it is.
Because I went from one career, the medical field, to another career, you know, kind of on hopes and prayers, like, oh shit, I hope this is the right decision.
Yeah.
And then, you know, 5-6 years later, you know, now I'm like making the first move I've ever made that the military wasn't involved in.
You're an executive now, like
going to a place that I've always wanted to live, doing a job that I enjoy doing, and then now being able to have more of an effect on what we do and how we do it, and to whom we do it for, or what have you.
Nice.
It is very humbling, and it still makes me laugh. I'll
It
sit
makes
here and I'm
me
like,
laugh.
holy fucking shit.
It makes me laugh because I was telling, like, and not to take away from you, but I was telling my wife, I was like, it's weird to say, like, and I'm not trying to fluff Cobalt, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know enough about them, but what I do know about them, just from my own research, is they have an idea, they execute it, they make their shit, and solid. So cool. But I was like, wrapping my mind around just talking with COOs of the gun industry. I'm like, how the fuck did any of us even get here? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't, like, at all.
That's my question too here. Where's Cobalt based out of?
It is in St. George, Utah.
Oh,
So
you're gonna be real close to me.
Oh yeah, where you at?
Wyoming.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Casper. Yeah, not too far away.
Well, I mean, if you live in Texas
still a
or
good
from
drive.
Texas,
Yeah,
no, it's not. It's like an easy
it's not
drive.
far. It's San Antonio to Dallas, probably. Like,
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, we have to get up one of these days, now that once you guys get relocated and settled, and I'm up there doing a class with them, we'll have to link up. But
yeah,
I'm excited,
Gotcha.
man.
Totally. No, I mean, there's a lot there. The facility already has AC, and that's probably one of the main things that has stuck out. Sons of Liberty didn't get AC until about 5 years in, 4 years in.
They tried, and then when they got it, they fucking tried.
I had a bunch of renters come in from Texas for a changeover, at one of our refineries here. Number one thing they asked, do you have AC? That's the first thing all these guys asked. I was like, what's going on here? Why is everyone asking about AC?
You people don't always have it, and it's a real question.
No, it's not. But no, I mean, it's a nice facility. It's of course, I liken it to what Sons of Liberty was about 4 years ago.
Nice.
There's
Really?
maybe 10 guys total. It's they've been able to just staff positions to where you have a finance guy, you have a marketing guy, they're able to set it up in that manner, so you have less overlapping of one person doing 5 different things.
Mm-hmm.
So to its credit, it's got itself established, and it doesn't hurt that the company's 10 years old, so they've been able to get through those initial hurdles and figure out what it needed to do. And obviously they could only perform to a certain extent. Right. And that's where we take over with Cobalt 2.
I will say the whole mag drop thing, right? When you run it, empty mag, hold open, drop. If you'll make a selector switch for that, because the only reason when that came out, I laughed. From a competition standpoint, wonderful. From a guy hunting in the dark all the time, I'm like,
oh yeah, no.
I
mean, it doesn't translate over into your offensive defensive role, because just like you illustrated, if you're out hunting, you're dropping a mag, an aluminum mag, steel mag, it's going to hit the ground, it's going to make a sound, it's an exposed position to wildlife. Yeah, or you lose it. Whereas if you're in more of a defensive, offensive role, you're inside of a concrete building, you're supposed to be moving all, blacked out. There you go. You drop your mag. Or you're in a facility, slicked out concrete floor, you drop that mag, you step on it. Next thing you're on your back and you tripped up the rest of your stack.
But if you could make it like a switch, that'd be cool, because then I could run both. Because I run
there's a switch. It's mag release.
Well, I mean, to turn off the automatic.
To turn that off.
Because when I go with you, I use the same gun I used to hunt with. I use it in class, and I don't want to.
But now we're getting down to like the whole kind of premise of, if you have too many moving parts, then you're going to make things. And that's kind of the reason why some of these, when Aaron took over, bought the company, he kind of went through the catalog and figured out like what should stay, what is unnecessary, what's over-engineered.
Yeah.
And then, that's why if you go to their website right now, you're only going to find 2 models, and within those 2 models, they kind of have their subsets. But yeah, I mean, it's like going to Cheesecake Factory. You have so many fucking things on the menu, and it's too much, so
Right.
cutting out, some things and then starting from just those 2 and building upon that is going to be the easier route. Then you can be good at, 1 or 2 things at a time instead of trying to do 50 things, and then you're going to fuck up 49 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
That's
I
a
mean,
good point.
everybody that I've talked to, like I said, the company I work for now bought a bunch of these and gave them out, I believe, at Christmas party years and years ago. And at first, everybody was afraid to run them because they were the space age. Like
Right.
you pick those up and these
They're
are
too pretty for me.
thousands of dollars.
The older ones, I mean, they're a heavy bitch because a lot of them were 16-inch,
really?
18-inch match barrel guns, and then you had all the additional parts in it to where, they had like a comp version, but that's only a handful of, a few ounces here and there, but it was evenly distributed because of the length of the gun.
Mm-hmm.
I got to shoot one of those. I went out, I think back in August, end of July, beginning of August timeframe. Went out to kind of have a face-to-face and messed with more of what they have in their inventory. And I mean, like I said, every item impressed me. Aaron and I maybe had like greater than 10 hours worth of like dedicated conversation, sitting across from each other, just going over through, philosophies, personal philosophies, work ethics, expectations, picking my brain about certain things. I'd see stuff that he had. I was like, oh yeah, you're doing that. I don't like that. That's dumb. Why is it dumb? Well, this is dumb for this reason. This is how it's practical, how it isn't practical. So I was able to give him answers, validate my answers to him, and then, gave him opportunities to rebut and give me his philosophies and concepts behind that. And, I was like, all right, dude was very transparent. I remember saying from the beginning, I was like, hey, if you need me to sign NDAs or stuff, I'm more than happy to. I won't take offense from it. And, that never happened. It was one of these things where he was comfortable enough in speaking to me and felt, had a trust of me that I wasn't going to take that information and like utilize it back at the home base or what have you.
Right.
And in turn, seeing that, I was able to respect where he was coming from. And it gave me a little bit more appreciation for, what I'm bringing myself into. And like Kyle said, I got this guy in today. Already got it geared out.
Is that a Cobalt?
Yeah.
Fucking giraffe neck ass mount you're running. It's so
That's cool
tall.
looking, man.
I mean, it's a good gun. It ran well. When I broke it open and saw, so they do a lot of, there's a lot of the parts on this that are done by them in-house. So receiver set, 7075 billet, rail, selector system, some small parts. They do their own buffer system. They have like 2 versions. They have one that you can build up. It's like this high density, high strength polymer, which has tensile strength similar to 6061. And then they have this encapsulated, near JP-ish, but not as goofy.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it, but so they have items that are actually thought out. They have an engineer on staff. So if something's not working one week, you can actually sit down, draw it out, give it to the engineer, and he can mock it up, 3D print it, and then go to a, proof of concept within, days compared to other companies having to wait weeks because they draw it out, send it off to an engineer, then they got to send it off to somebody else to 3D print, then they got to send it someplace back to whatever cut house to get a mock-up done. So I was impressed with the way they're set up. And then just a lot of the R&D and the engineer being on staff.
That's huge.
That's something that, we can, They have some parts that are going to be coming out that are actually really cool. I can't, unfortunately, go into too much information about that, but they're items that you would not necessarily find coming from a rifle manufacturer.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's the cool thing, is that this company's small enough still that you can do these
Right.
little things and them be practical and not vanity projects.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
there's
the opportunity's there, man.
It is. I mean, it's like clay. You know, everything is tangible and moldable, and you know, it's exciting, scary, but it's exciting to
Right.
be in this position.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, go ahead.
did you move up to Utah already?
No, I roll out Sunday to get up there, get on payroll, start, you know,
Nice.
get in the lay of the land, and then family is going to be behind and get them moved up February timeframe.
You're moving up in the winter.
Hey, can you grab it?
Utah.
Please.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
gonna be
it's winter, but the climate there, you know, it's high desert, so it's not like it's going to get, you know, 5 feet of snow. You know, it does snow, but it's almost like here.
It might. You might get some heavy snow. It depends. It all depends.
It's Utah, but
it's no swamp ass though.
No.
Yeah, no more swamp ass.
Man, I grew up in Europe, so cold.
Oh, okay.
I love the cold. You know, so that's nothing new to me. We were down and, you know, spent most of my time down in Germany, southern Bavaria, and the mountainous areas. I lived in Prague for about 6 months. You know, so I know what it is to deal with cold and snow and ice, and you know.
Kyle's not into that.
No. I mean, hey, Mikey can speak. I can work in ice and snow. It's down here. It's sticky cold. I don't fucking want that. Dry.
Well, it's all that humidity that's in the air that increases that chill. But yeah, I'd rather be freezing cold than slimy hot.
I could take that, but I could. Yeah, I love, like, when I go to Casper this time of year. Awesome. A little bit of snow. Like, sure, you might get snow one day, be 60 the next. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Like January, February, altitude knows. Absolutely fucking not. Like, unless it's something dire need, I'm not going there. I cancel trainings. No.
Just like when we went out there in August, you know, it was like 110, 106. But, you know,
it's a dry heat.
Yeah, the dry heat thing. So but you can go from a non-shaded area to a shaded area, and you can feel the temperature difference.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if I can be 2 degrees cooler than I was out in the open sun, you know, running around with lizards.
It's going to be beautiful up there. So I have a question for you that's kind of, well, it's not kind of, it's completely unrelated, to kind of switch gears. What do you think is going to happen with this Rittenhouse shit? Because you cannot tell me that the judges and the jury itself are going into this unbiased. You can't tell me they don't.
So, I mean, it's one of these things where, and it's been said many a time in different situations, the way the world is now with your access to information, there is no way that you can keep any one person, you know, autonomous from everything else. So, you know, there's. If they were able to keep things going in line to the letter of the law and as the rules of that court is, you know, there would have been, everybody would have stayed in one place. There would have been Faraday cages. They would have been, you know, the full-on 1984 kind of treatment. Yeah. But you can't do that because
the jury wasn't even sequestered. So it was wild.
No, they're allowed to go home and stuff like that, and they did their best to try to not keep people where they could be identified. I really do think that there will probably be a mistrial, but it's going to be, as they said, with non-prejudice, just because he's going to get a charge. He's going to catch a charge, maybe a lower felony.
Crossing state lines with...
Not even that. I mean, I really do think that he may get something like, a
Reckless.
lesser manslaughter, manslaughter
Really?
charge, because you can't charge him with murder. I mean, murder, if you go by what it is, he had to have planned it out. The whole, opportunity, motive, all that shit. You can't prove that. Everything occurred in seconds and, minutes and seconds on the fly. It wasn't like he said, oh, I'm going to run over there. I'm going to have that vantage point so I can plug that dude in his face, and I'm going to run over here so I
it
can
wasn't
fall down on my back. Yeah,
Sure.
no, I mean, that's murder. If he planned that out, set it up, that's murder. But he did take a life, 2 lives. So as much as we want to be free and all that good stuff, we're still members of society, of a social law-abiding society for the most part. So there has to be consequences for that taking of a life. Granted, it wasn't self-defense, where he had the right to do so, regardless, at the root of it. If you go by the merits of the case and the true bare bones of it, he defended his life because somebody was trying to kill him. He did what he had to do and what was allowed by the country and your God-given right to do so. But as a country with laws, he may become subject to those laws in some manner. And I feel if that does occur, it will wind up being a lesser, charge of manslaughter.
They can't afford to acquit him. I don't think. I mean, they just.
I think the jury's scared. Like whoever the holdups
Well, everybody's scared.
scared.
I mean, everybody's scared. The city's scared. The judge is scared. He's done a good job in controlling things to the best of his ability. But I mean, this dude was not oblivious to the fact that this is such a high-profile situation that constituents, are watching, colleagues are watching, everybody's watching. The world is watching.
Right.
And when you're under a microscope like that, it's really, really tough to stay within the lines that you've drawn out for yourself.
I do not want to see an 18-year-old kid who is now killed. He's going to live with that forever, no matter what. We talked about it last week. It looked like his cry session was sincere when we watched it.
Right.
It did. He's 17 years old at the time when this happens. No matter what, it's sincere. I'm still a firm believer that he went looking for trouble. Did he ever expect to actually have to use his weapon? Absolutely not. But he wanted to be.
I don't think he went looking for it. I think he was expecting it, though. It was one of these things where, if it happens, it happens. But
Then
then it really happened. It was, oh shit. Although I will say, I do commend his response.
Yeah.
I mean, he was for being a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
No combat experience. His actions and abilities were better than some dudes I've seen that were very seasoned at whether they be LE or MIL.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of dudes fuck shit up, and they supposedly have a lot of experience.
He handled himself, and nobody beyond his targets were hit.
No, incredible.
Granted, that bicep shot was random, but still, it was in a trajectory that it was a hit, but there was nothing else behind there.
Yeah.
I think
with this Rittenhouse case, you're looking. I'm looking at just the act, the defensive act, the shooting act. Yeah. Everyone's wanting to look beyond that to spread the timeline further back, and that's what usually defense attorneys do for someone that's actually guilty. That's like you kind of rehabilitate them with they were good citizens in the
right.
And all that. But just usually the prosecutor just looks at the act alone and tries to convict on that act. So it's weird that the prosecutor is actually spreading the timeline open to see, he went there looking for trouble. But the act alone is defensive.
Yeah. Defense, yeah.
I think there was too much not in their favor regarding the act that they had to do the trick of bringing up so much information that now it's in the jury's mind and they start thinking it or overthinking it or over processing what is.
That's when I think. Yeah, that's when I think the prosecution has a weak case when they have to open up the timeline to further back to see what's going on. If you just concentrate on the act as a prosecutor, you should probably get a win. But in this case, no.
This this is going to wind up being case law and shit that's going to wind up at being taught at Harvard Law of how not to prosecute a case. Because everything that could, you almost would think they're purposely trying to throw the case for, it to be dismissed so they can bring in the A team. Because these dudes were probably the guys that were last in the fucking break room and said, fuck it, I don't have anything else to do for the next 3 weeks.
That's what it seems like.
They are probably the worst prosecutors I've ever seen. I mean, it's with all the stuff that they're trying to get away with, like the Fifth Amendment violation and all that. It's wild that they're
the video, just the video situation. It's like, oh, we didn't know. We didn't realize it wasn't going to be compressed
I got
properly.
1080p. What you got pixels? What?
Dude, even I know if you have an Android and you send me a fucking video on my iPhone, the shit doesn't come
look
across
like shit.
in full resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not a fucking lawyering genius by any means. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I like right now we're in a chat and somebody said, "Oh, it's delayed again." I was kind of joking, but I am a firm believer that they are delaying this until everybody can get out of work and off, because so there's all this word about riots and this and that and just all this shit. I believe that the left is pushing this rioting narrative
so they can actually
they want more right-wing Rittenhouse guys out there with guns on the streets, and then nobody else shows up and it's just a bunch of psychos with guns. That's the end result.
So you can use it as a means of discrediting the right, because look at these guys, they all showed up, they're doing this, he's one of them, this is the way they think. I mean, that's near CIA level. What's the word I'm looking for?
Ops.
No, I guess for lack of a better word. There
it's
is
something.
Destabilization.
Yeah,
So there was a book written in the 60s by this guy was one of the CIA caseworkers during the Bay of Pigs, and he wrote this kind of like timeline and process of how you destabilize a government and how you go in, you fuck with the religious aspect, at the same time their businesses, their infrastructure, then you go for the education, and then from there you garner this support and you keep pushing, you push one side against the other, but you set it up to where who's supposed to be the good guys, you flip it to where they have the appearance of the bad guys, although they're doing everything they're supposed to be doing to be the good guys, but you can spin it in a manner. And a lot of these, I read it, I can't remember the fucking name of it, but it's really fucking interesting. And if you read that book and then see all these things that have been occurring since the Democrats have kind of been in power back and forth, at least for the last 15 years or so, you see this mirroring of everything this guy wrote out. And it's what makes it even more real or weird is that you're seeing it from the inside, because now we're doing it to ourselves. So it's like history's repeating itself, but nobody's smart enough to realize it's the same fucking playbook.
So I think people are smart enough to realize it. I think, and we've discussed this before, I think
we're just too soft.
Yeah, that's it. So 9mmSMG, if I'm saying this thing right, his Instagram was taken off.
Yeah.
It was suspended. But one of his recent posts was basically pointing out that the Democrats grew a pair. They showed up. They said, fuck the government. You're overstepping. You're doing this. They showed up. And did they do it on stuff that we agreed with? Of course not.
They played dirty, right? They played to win.
Did. We focused on, we can't go do that kind of stuff. We have jobs. We've got places to be. They said, fuck everything. We're showing up. And it's, when you look at it from that perspective, not that I necessarily agree with it completely, but there is a point there.
Unfortunately, it's easier to dissuade your disenfranchised, because when you have lesser to have or appreciate, you're going to take hold of the thing that seems like it's that leg up.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to the other side, and again, this is just as I see it, not necessarily this is set in stone. When you have those things, when you have a job, when you have responsibilities, when you have taxes and all that other shit, you do kind of get that blase, okay, there's enough of us to do that, they'll take care of it. The next person will.
Yeah.
And when you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing of an animal that's trapped in a snare. He will chew his fucking leg off to get out of that snare because he'll commit to that. Because in his mind, there's nothing worse than that immediate moment. And when you have less, there's nothing worse than the lessness you already have at that time.
Right.
Yeah. See, they're teaching us that the snare is to help us and that we're just conforming each step. And we're all doing it. I'm not some Billy badass that's going to go out tomorrow and start a revolution. And 99% of that is I have a family. I have kids. I've got a job. I've got.
Do you remember that dude up in New York that was all coked out and all, he was barricaded in his place and he was some kid on the interwebs and everybody rallied behind him. And it turned out
yeah.
it turned out he was just coked out and shooting his gun off. And,
fake.
And I remember somebody had messaged me one time during that whole time frame. And it's like, well, what do you think? Shouldn't your company be backing this guy? Y'all need to get him guns and shit. I'm like, no.
We don't. Yeah.
Well, what if it was you? I'm like, it wouldn't be me.
Yeah.
I believe, I have my beliefs. I believe in the country. I believe in freedom, Second Amendment. But I also have to operate in a more narrow window because I have a family that relies on me.
Yeah.
I may not be the primary breadwinner, but they rely on me for protection, for support, for doing things, being able to provide. I can't be as cavalier with my actions because there's a consequence, which means a detriment of puts my family at a loss, and I'm not going to fucking do that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me. It's that whole constitutionalist concept of don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you.
Yeah.
But if it gets to that point, it's a whole different story. But until then, you need to do a lot of shit to me before I'm going to be like, let's fucking burn the place down. but God damn it, I'll burn the fucking place down with you in it. Yeah.
Too much to lose and too many people to provide for. Yeah.
And nowadays,
and that's why we're like soft, right? Because we can't just up and do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want my kids to suffer through a revolution. I don't want them to see it. And most people say, well, if you don't do it, then yeah. But we'll make one more point and then we'll let you go. There's three extremes I see nowadays, right? The right, the left, and then the new one, which is ever so popular in the gun community, the libertarian aspect, which would have applauded that guy coked out shooting his gun and been like, oh, well, he's just expressing himself. While I do share a lot of their views, good God, they're terrible. That's my opinion.
Dude, I'm still a E5 in the Army. In my mind, that dude was a shitbag. You know what? You're a shitbag, you're a shitbag. You're not going to get my fucking support.
That's kind of
same thing.
I'm not crazy. I'm not completely crazy. A little crazy.
They're a little extreme.
You're leaving. What'd you say? You're heading out this week. So
I roll out Sunday.
How far is where he's going from you?
St. George is still a good. I don't know.
6 hours. Whereabouts in Wyoming are you?
Casper.
I think you're kind of in the lower center half.
No, I'm in this actual center.
Okay.
It's 10 hours away still.
I was going to say it's
it's
about 4 hours up from Salt Lake.
You're on the southwest end of Utah.
Yeah, right on the fucking border.
So you might not get as much snow.
I'm just trying to figure out when we can do a podcast.
I think Adam was saying earlier that's pretty close to Vegas.
It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on what side of St. George.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So we're 3-4 hours south of Salt Lake. We're about an hour and a half northeast of Vegas. We're about an hour and a half north of the Grand Canyon. We're like we're in between
Man,
Zion and Bryce
that's
National Park.
That's kind of cool. You can visit all these places like on a weekend trip.
Yeah.
I used to work and we had a well in St. George, and then Bryce Canyon. I stayed the night there in some little lodge when we were out checking oil field stuff. That is some of the most beautiful country I've ever been in.
It's a great place, man. And it was cool driving there because it's like you drive from Vegas, it's desert, flat, desert. And as soon as you get to the border, all of a sudden all these rocks shoot up out of nowhere. And then you drive through this gorge, and then you drive over this little pass, and then you start coming into the valley where St. George is at. And, it looks like a mini Scottsdale, Arizona, golf courses and green in certain areas. And then just this, again, desert, green. But it was cool. I'm excited for it. It's going to be enjoyable. The company has a pretty significant size of land for their range. So there's like six or seven bays. And then there's like these old washouts that they use, the local SWAT team uses for like tactical runs. And then they have this big portion of the side of the mesa that the range is on. So you can do high angle shooting out to like 1,800 yards.
Oh, Jesus. That's all on property?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. All belongs to the company.
Well, you let us know when everything's set up. I want to buy a Cobalt.
Yeah.
And I want to see. I want to see what it is. I can't, I don't want to speculate. I want to buy one. Exactly what I did, run it into the ground.
The pistol I have right now is essentially their base model. And with everything put together, like I said, I ran those rounds, and this was the movement of the gun.
That's crazy, man. Kyle was telling me that beforehand.
Dude, it like I said, I was like, what the fuck? So I went and grabbed Nick. I'm like, Nick, come here. Shoot this fucking thing. I'm like, does not move. He's like, what the fuck ever. Gave him a magazine. He closes the door. Boom, 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 boom. Comes out. He was like, ninja.
That's cool, man.
I'm excited for you, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm excited for you too.
You earned it. Awesome. I mean, there's no question. I've watched everyone there just kind of grow and step up, and this is no fault to Sons. Like, I love those guys. There's a lot of people there who are underutilized. I truly believe that. I see people there that are just outstanding, and I'm glad. I'm happy for you. I really am.
I can't really say it's a dream come true because I didn't necessarily dream of this.
Yeah.
But it's that American dream aspect. Yeah.
It is.
Started from the bottom, got to the top or near the top. There's a lot of possibilities of what can occur once I'm there after, a little bit of time. I don't want to jinx myself by outright saying it, but
we're gonna.
I'm excited. I want to see. I want to get one of these in my hands. And see.
We're gonna speculate the shit out of them.
Well, hell, if you're right up the road, basically, you're welcome down to the shop anytime. Walk you around, and we can see what we can get squared away. I'm already working on getting a couple of guns set up for you can do one of your waffles for them.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I'm already getting that stuff together, planning it out.
Exciting.
And again, come down, and we got a pretty decent pro staff as well. John Dufresne, Mocha Bear. He's on the staff. You got Kawa from Musa Store, Knockout Mike from Knockout Lights. Then we have a couple of actual competition shooters.
That's awesome.
So we got a pretty good pro staff on board. Our actual, head shed is pretty well put together. Gabe is a good, solid guy. I've known him for a handful of years. He's got some really well thought out plans that, luckily with a lot of the connections that I have, I'm able to fill in these holes.
Right.
And, we've already knocked out a bunch of stuff that we had on the our planning diagram that we're already getting achieved. You know, we got SHOT Show coming up, and we got some new products coming out.
Nice.
We got a SPR in several different calibers, and
Cool.
then we're moving into another platform, which is going to be a little bit further down the road. Then some accessories, again, further down the road. But yeah, we're trying to go at it at a slow pace, but steady, and build upon each other's success. And yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited for it. I believe in it. And as I said, believed in it enough to leave Sons of Liberty. And that took a lot to decide to do, but I'm glad I did it. And fortunately, I do have the support of all those guys over there.
That's big.
Yeah.
That says a lot for them too, you know.
Oh no, and that was a big concern of mine from the beginning, was how was that going to go over? You know, I felt like a traitor for a significant amount of time, and then I saw that, you know, this time it's for me.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. So when an employee ever comes up to me and go, "Hey, I got this better opportunity, and I think I want to get it," I'm all for it. I'm not going to hold someone back for this better opportunity that I can't provide them.
Right.
So I don't think you should feel guilty about leaving at all.
Oh no, I'm over that now.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I was, you know, I was wondering that when, you know, I saw the Soldier Systems article and stuff like that, and I was like, I wonder how they took it. But to hear that they were receptive and supportive, that's huge. I mean, again, it speaks volumes for what we all perceive the guys to be like. It speaks volumes for how that's really who they are. That's cool.
I like it.
All right, man. Well, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for the time again.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, not a problem. I appreciate you inviting me, and anytime, bro.
Hell,
maybe we can do this in a couple of months.
Yeah. When you're in St. George, freezing.
There you go.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, guys. Y'all take it easy.
Thanks.
All right, bye.
Cool. That was awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad.
He's awesome, man. Cool. That was the first time talking to him.
Man, he's fun. When I used to go down there, and he would be there, I kind of hung out. They had in their old shop, it was the main shop, which is a long shop, and then it was where the hallway was that said free hugs that everybody always saw the spray paint. That hallway, then it was a Seracote shop. So that's cool. I'm happy for him.
You should cross that out and go free mouth hugs. Oh, wait, what?
They sold that building. It's gone.
Oh.
Yeah. We could have done anything we wanted to it.
Yeah.
But, well, cool.
That was awesome. I'm glad he came on, and appreciate that he came on. And someone was talking about your patch wall here. Who was that? Oh, Angelina. Oh, Angelina from Al Anchor.
Oh, I don't have any of those.
She's like, you need to step it up, man. And she's right. They're making our patches, man, and you don't have any of their patches?
I'll go online and order some. It's one of those things where you need to do it, but you need to do it.
Al Anchor's awesome, man. I just got a ton in from them. The send nudes with the cup of noodle.
Yeah, the ones you were showing us.
That was awesome.
Yes, they moved out of a lumber yard into a different location of the lumber yard. They're still in the lumber yard. The same people that own lumber yards all around here, and they have just huge amounts of space. So they're at the back of another lumber yard now, but where they went from like a really, really long closet, this new facility is like 2-story Ceracote upstairs, showroom, offices, vault.
Oh, they have a storefront there?
So they've always kind of had a storefront. They're just not open to the public. So they have, a little glass display and like all their swag and shit like that. But, the family owns a lumberyard, so they stay in there. And I swear, as soon as they moved into this new space, they were already fucking grown out. Like,
that's crazy,
Kyle and I built the stands for all the guns one day before they even moved in. I just was like, I can help you guys out. So went over and put a couple screws and some of the rifle stands, and we started putting them in, and we're like, I was like, dude, you guys they have racks now to the ceiling, and they're going to have to expand again soon.
They're just
literally,
pumping out guns like crazy, huh?
dude, as soon as they moved in, like they were
Dude, everyone wants their stuff, man. It's I mean, it sells like hotcakes.
For good fucking reason. Today,
Yeah.
I was, kind of looking at everything, and I'm still taking I have other rifles I'm taking with me. I'm taking 2 sons' rifles with me hunting this weekend when I take my kid. Like, I'm not.
You should take an Evolve, man. It's pretty good.
I haven't got a chance to sight it in. I don't even have an optic for it.
You
yet.
need to sight that in.
I had an aim point, and I thought I had a mount for it.
Crazy accurate, man.
I don't have it. Oh, I'm gonna run that thing hard. I'm gonna put that's gonna be one of the guns. So the thermal they have different reticle profiles where you can save different rifles and save zeros. So that Evolve's gonna be one of the rifles I put it on.
Nice. I like it.
Cool, guys.
All right, man. Whoa, where's Kyle? Or is it me? Oh. I thought you like froze.
No, I was reading. But all right, we'll talk to y'all next week.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.